I think these impala are probably enjoying the temperature at the moment. It's been quite hot here over the last couple of days. Amazing to see these baby impala have doubled in size already. By about 4.5 months they should be fully weaned and able to look after themselves if anything should happen to the mother. There's one individual who's just off to the left. We can't see her. She's just around the bush, and she's watching something off into the eastern side of quarantine area, but she hasn't given an alarm call yet. Everyone else seems to be quite happy and busy eating. Just seems to be watching something quite closely, so it might be worth us driving a little bit further on quarantine area and just seeing if there is something around. The babies are too busy eating to have some exercise this morning. Always great to watch them. When one or two start, they all start to join in, have their morning exercise. Good morning, Akram. What you so far? I'm going to head down towards Fullerman's, Cookline, Treehouse Dam area first. So after that, I'll give you a hand. Did you happen to find Karuga last night? Oh, that sounds quite interesting. Everyone's just saying they heard lions calling to the southeast of our property last night, so there may be some lion tracks to follow up on this morning. So we're going to head around Philemon's Cut Line, Treehouse Dam area to see if there's any sign of Karula, and then maybe head towards the east to give Ephraim a hand, so he's going to also have a look outside. But the great news, if anybody did miss them, the great news is that Karula did have the cubs on Impala Plains. She was denning just to the north of the plains, and yesterday morning, just after drive, she decided that it was possibly warm enough and there was less risk of the lions and hyenas being around to move the cubs again. So she decided to move them. She was walking all the way down our western boundary on Triple M Road, and then she decided to cut through roughly around Zoe's Road, Philemon's Cut Line. That junction, she cut through the bush in line with that. So she may be moving the cubs further in now that the lion activity had calmed down, so it depends on where these lions have gone to. But she's a very clever cat, and I think she will keep out the way of the lions. But that's possibly what made her keep the cubs a bit further afield from the centre of her territory, because the lions were here. Remember, they were right here on quarantine area, right in the centre of the territory. So it'll be quite interesting to see where she goes from there. Hyena tracks here again this morning. And if anybody would like to watch that footage, if you missed it, say we went live probably about 20 minutes after drive closed down. We're lucky enough to catch her just in a good signal area on Triple M. But we managed to get some nice footage of the cubs, so if you would like to see that, it is on Facebook and it is on the blog, which can also be found on the website. Another hyena trying to be a leopard here. white-tailed mongoose has been running around here. Tiny little track, about this big. Largest mongoose that we get here. An overcast day like this, you might even see a white-tailed mongoose. I have seen them out and about, even though they are nocturnal. I have seen them out and about around dawn and dusk as well, on occasion, especially when it is as overcast as it is today. It looks like the sun is trying to burn through the clouds. It's starting to break up slightly. If there's anybody who'd like to ask any questions this morning, then feel free to send questions through to Mark sitting in final control. You just put them in an email. Final control @safari.tv is the address. Send it to final control. All one word or lowercase. Great to hear from you this morning. We've got some zebra around. Look out for some zebra. FM Smith. I'm getting a lot of interference in the radio. Which consoles did you have? Copy, Camping West. there's the zebra. And some rhino tracks too. Sounds like the rhinos have been all over. That's the tracks that Ephraim's also got on the Weaver's Nest Road by the sounds of it. And there looks like there's some elephant there, that's what they're looking at. I think there's going to be an elephant coming through that gap there too. Wonderful! You see those two zebras looking into the bush and they've got extremely good eyesight. It's also thought they see in colour. Just about see the grey shapes moving in the background there. It looks like they're going to come this way. Oh, wonderful. So there's Llanbihaf and Love on Gowrie Main, close to junction with Zoe's Road. These are common or plain zebra, and they do tend to live in a small family herd. There may be some more zebra around. The stallion will have, if he's successful, maybe 6 females with him and their offspring. Being joined by the red-billed oxpeckers this morning for breakfast. It looks like there is a chick on that. Yeah, there it is. You'll see the chick doesn't have as bright a bill as the adults. And I was asked a little while ago what the purpose of the red bill is. And having seen chicks with a very dark bill, I'm more and more convinced that it's something to do with courtship. Oh, and there's an elephant in front of us too. I'm just about to see his trunk poking out. You can see them using that bill to search through the fur of the animal. Here comes the elephant across the road, so he's going to come and join the zebra. Hello, little one. Oh, good morning to you. There's another one following him as well. Oh, he's got his tail missing. I think we've seen him before. Quite a young cow. You can just about see the tusks of the baby poking through there. Now the milk tusks you won't see, that's in the first year of their life, so those will be the permanent tusks that will grow through the rest of its life. And the size and length of the tusk can help to determine age, but they are also dictated by genetics. We have seen a few individuals here in the Sabi Sands now without tusks at all, or maybe one tusk, and it could be genetic, or it could be they had a problem with that tusk and it fell out. But they are extremely useful. You can see them using the tusk to help break the grass over. And they'll do the same with branches and bark. They'll even use their tusk to dig into the soil. Maybe scrape the bark from the tree. And they will possibly favour one tusk over the other. So if you ever see an elephant with one longer tusk and a short tusk, it's favoured that short tusk for using it. So it wears down much quicker than the other tusk. Just making sure that we know our place. Young bull maybe getting to that stage where he might start to leave the family. Usually happens around 17, 18 years old. Hi Elizabeth, welcome on board this morning. Email is hiding from us. Let's see if I can get her coming out from behind the bush there. She's beat me to it. You'd like to know, is it true that they can communicate with each other through the feet and the ground? And it is true. They can feel the vibrations on the ground, and they can also feel the vibrations of other elephants through the ground, and it's possible that they feel the vibrations from many kilometers away. And they did an experiment a while ago, and first of all the sound was recorded from the elephants, and it was around a waterhole, and there was I think it was a pride of lions, so it was something that scared the elephants. and the elephants gave off this particular call to warn the rest of the herd that there was danger, and they all reacted to that particular call, and they all grouped together, surrounded the young ones, and then all ran off in the same direction. So it was a very peculiar behavior, but it was also a very easy behavior to see. They were very protective and then running away from the danger. I think there's going to be another one coming out from behind the bush, so I just need to be a little bit patient, and then hopefully we'll see if we can try and catch up with them again. But what was quite interesting is a few years later it started coming out that elephants could possibly feel the vibrations. So what they did next was to take this sound, and they tested it with other elephants, and they got the same reaction when this sound was given off. So they took this sound and put the microphone underground so that they couldn't hear the sound at all, they could just feel that vibration, and it gave the same reaction. So the elephants couldn't hear it, but they could certainly feel that vibration, and to still have that same behavior still definitely shows that they can feel those vibrations through their feet. Very, very sensitive, the feet. Okay, I'm going to sneak forward then. I think this elephant is possibly walking through the bush that way. See if we can keep up with them for a little bit. Move forward just a little bit more, see if we can have another look. We're just going to slowly move, try and keep up with them. Just a little bit far from the road. And just to tell you exactly how sensitive those feet that the elephant can be, a friend of mine, she's got children, probably about my age now, but when they were younger they used to do a lot of camping, and there was a trip they went on, and the children were all sleeping in a boma. Now, a boma is just an area that's protected. It's almost fenced off, and you can use branches or poles, and especially at night you can sit there around a campfire and not be concerned about lions or hyenas coming in from the back of you. So a boma is just another word for that protective area. And the children were sleeping there, and they had two little rondavel huts at the entrance to the boma. And they put some food, and there was a number of adults and a number of children there, so it was an organised trip. And they put some fruit that they had left over in a basket, and they put it right at the back of the boma to keep it out of reach of animals. And that night the parents were woken by, I'm not too sure what she said, whether it was just a feeling that they had that there was something wrong or someone was on watch. But when they woke, they actually witnessed a herd of elephants walking into the boma. And they couldn't do anything because obviously the children were sound asleep. And they couldn't do anything because if they had, if they spooked the elephants, they may have crushed the children. And they watched, without being able to do anything, they watched these elephants carefully walk in between the children, take down the basket and walk away with it, and not one single child was harmed. And my friend says he was still quite young at the time. He said all he remembers is a very strong smell of elephants, so he was actually one of the children there. Quite incredible, the fact that the elephants, in complete darkness, did not kill a single child. It just goes to show how sensitive those feet are. And how sensitive that nose is to be able to detect that basket of fruit. So apart from extremely good hearing, their sense of smell is also extremely valuable to them. Because their eyesight is not great. They'll be able to see us from here, but they can see what they're eating. So they've got very close vision. Anyone can copy me. I've got a Slambeers blog on Gary, Maine, close to Village Road. Any stations that can copy me, I've got a Slambeers blog on Gary, Maine, close to Village Road. And here comes the baby. Now, just like the zebra we saw a little bit earlier, they also live in these small family groups. So the bulls don't stay with the females, they'll visit female herds to mate with the females and then move on. But the young bulls, up to about 17, 18 years old, will be with them. And then they get a little bit too boisterous, they start to stay on the fringes of the herd, and then it gets to the stage where they just move away. The females may even give them a little bit of a nudge if they're being too boisterous. But they move away and form maybe small bachelor groups, and they may be joined by a few older bulls to teach them how to be male elephants. So they would have taught all the essential survival tips from the mothers, just like the females do. From where to find water and where to find food, and where to find food at different times of the year, where to find minerals. There's a lot to learn being an elephant. So they have a childhood similar to ours, or similar length to ours. And even the complexities of their behavior and language as well. But it is a female-dominated society, matriarchal society. And they still play a very important role in the male's life, even if they are not in the family group anymore. They still have an important role to play. Just their presence will help to calm males down. Even the more boisterous of males will be put in their place by a female. Hi Yvonne, welcome on board this morning from Kentucky. I hope you're doing well this evening. I'm sure it'll be evening that side where you are. And a couple of questions from you this morning. How might the elephant have lost his tail? I've been wondering that myself. And it is very difficult to say. Could be any number of possibilities. Elephants can be hunted and eaten by lions. Has been seen before. Although I haven't heard of any lions in the Sabi Sands doing that. I think there is plenty of food for them, and there doesn't really seem to be any prides that would be big enough to really pull down an elephant. But it may have been bitten by a predator, although that one here, as I say, I think is more of a remote possibility. Could have been bitten even by an elephant. They were fighting, play fighting, maybe when he was younger. He may have been born without a tail, although I think it looks like it has been bitten, or it was there and it was lost. But it looks quite well healed, so I don't think it's a recent thing. It could have been a predator when he was younger. So there's any number of possibilities, and probably one I haven't even thought about. Could even have been a disease, maybe. Maybe you cut it on a branch and it got infected. And your other question, how far from fire control do we start the game drive from? It depends on what time we are able to head out. Sometimes we start on the open area. Sometimes we try and start a little bit further away from final control. I think the furthest I've started away is just around Cheetah Cut Line area when we had lions there on the buffalo kill. So we try and vary it as much as possible. But today we didn't start too far away from fire control. I'm hoping this little bull's going to come and say hello to us. There's a lot of young elephants here in this family. And we may have seen mother and daughters, or aunties, sisters with their offspring. And these small family units can then meet up with each other and maybe move as a much larger herd at certain times of the year. just slowly being surrounded by them. He's going to come out into the open in a few seconds, a few minutes maybe. He might have found something tasty to eat. Or a good scratching post. Now, a lot of the sound is inaudible to us. It's very low frequency sound. There are some sounds that we can hear. That very characteristic deep rumbling sound, which people often think comes from the stomach, is actually a vocalization. And if they need to communicate that there is any danger there, you can also hear the trumpeting if they're alarmed. It's very loud and it does carry for quite a few kilometers. I'm hoping when she's finished her breakfast there, she might just walk in front of us. The rest of the herd have moved on to our left by the looks of it, so she might just go and join them. She's got quite a big tear in her left ear. And quite a large notch from the bottom of that left ear. So she should be quite a distinguishable female, and I do wonder if we have seen this family group here before. Elephants don't hold a territory, they have very large home range. And the difference being territories are defended, and they tend to be fairly small, so they can be defended. Whereas home ranges, they're not defended, and they can be extremely large because of that. Yeah, she's taking the back route. Must be a very interesting tree at the back there. Let's see if we can drive on a little bit further and see if the rest of the herd are there. Otherwise, let's see if there's anything else out and around in Juma Game Reserve this morning. Are we able to get the golden orb? There we go, with the sun shining on the web, it's just beautiful. Just there. She's actually caught something. Banded-legged golden orb web spider. I was hoping with the sun shining you might be able to see the web, but it's not shining up too golden at the moment. It's actually the colour of the silk is the name golden orb, and they actually do make an orb. And just like other orb spiders, she uses that web to catch her prey, and then wraps the prey in the silk, and then she will bite the venom, and the venom actually helps to start digesting all the internal organs, making it almost like a soup which she can then drink. And that's how most or all orb web spiders will eat their prey, and that's the whole reason for the venom. So you get the orb web spiders. See, she's checking. See, she's plucking the web. And that's how she can feel the vibrations on the web, and they've got tiny little hairs on their feet to detect the movements. And there'll be some strands that have the sticky substance on them, and some that don't, and that's one of the ways that spiders are able to walk on the web without getting stuck to their own web. And they'll also have little hooks on their feet, so it helps them to attach to the web. Caught something else there. Now this is probably quite a young female. She's made a full orb, or full web, whereas as they get older they'll only make half a web. But she's quite a decent size, this one. Females being much bigger. I can't see a male on the web. Females will spin the web and the males will then live on the webs. Beautiful. Going from the largest animal in the bush to maybe one of the smallest, although not the smallest. Quite amazing what you can find in the African bush. Hi everyone, I'm just going to try and manoeuvre out of here and see if I can answer your question. I'm trying to see if I can turn around here and head different ways. Is this the way we came in? I think it was. Yes, it was. I can see my tracks now. Always important to try not to damage the bush too much. Try and have as little impact on the bush as possible. At the end of the day, if you destroy the bush, there's nothing for the animals to eat. I realised that was as big a bump as it was. So hi everyone, good morning to you. And you want to know, how does a female become the matriarch? It's quite... they are crossing the road. It's quite an interesting question, Yvonne. And it's thought that from birth, there's some evidence to suggest that they are groomed almost to become a matriarch later on in life. And you do get some youngsters who take more of a leadership role even when they are young. There are some more individuals going to cross the road. Maybe we can have a look at these two while we're waiting. And a matriarch will be selected after a matriarch has died. So once they have become matriarch, they'll tend to be matriarch for the duration of their life. And once a matriarch dies, the herd, it almost becomes pandemonium. They become, almost because they have lost their leader, they're not entirely sure what to do with themselves for a couple of days or so. And it's almost as if there's a bit of a debate as to who should be the matriarch, and you may get herds splitting because of it. So if some elephants support one individual, some elephants support another individual, you may get that split. But there's no right or wrong answer. It depends on the situation, it depends on the individuals in the herd. It may be that all the herd agree on one individual, but it could be that individual, as I say, from a very early age may have been groomed almost to be a matriarch later on. It was quite interesting. I forget who sent me through, I think it was Marlene that sent me through some information about that. And that was some of the recent research, I think. But the matriarch's role is to protect the family as well, but she will have an intricate knowledge of the area that they live in, and she will decide when it's time to move from an area, where to find water in times of drought. She'll have intricate knowledge of the pathways. And I've seen matriarchs stand in the road and basically stop the herd from crossing the road until she feels it's safe for them to cross. But it's generally the oldest female in the herd, although again it does depend on the individual. But obviously the older they are, the more knowledge they're going to have usually. There's a couple more coming out of the bush. I think let's see if we can get them crossing the road and then we'll leave them to it. See if we can get another view of them. Oh, here's a little one. Probably better off going back where I was. There's a couple of them coming out now. And Major Sunny Babies, there's another one here on the left. Trying to work out where these boys are going to go. What I'm going to do is turn around because there's a couple more coming this way. And we should be able to see them through there, so we should still be able to get a good view of them. Actually, there's another one. She's just coming out from behind the bush. Hi Bill, welcome on board to you this morning, and you'd like to know, is it true that elephants scatter the bones of other elephants? And if so, why? And it is true, Bill. They will, if they find a carcass of an elephant, or elephant bones, they'll actually smell them and pick them up and maybe walk with them for a few kilometers before dropping them. So I don't think they actually do it on purpose, they're just extremely inquisitive. Hello. Of those bones, and it may be relatives of theirs. And I know the Oliphants camp in Kruger, they used to have real elephant tusks on the gate, and they had them there a few times, and the elephants would actually take the tusks off the gate and walk off with them. So now they're plastic, as far as I know. So I'm not entirely sure why they do it, Bill. But as I say, it could be that they can smell if they are the relatives, or just smell that it's another elephant. And it is, as we were just talking about the matriarch, when she dies and the whole herd goes into confusion. It could be also a grieving process too. And there's just so much that we don't know about elephants. And the more that there's research done on them, the more that's found out, the more questions we start to ask ourselves, and the more it leads to other questions, and they're a lot more complex animals than what we ever gave them credit for in the past, I think. You see the little fork-tailed drongos flying above it, little blackbirds. They're the ones chattering away. This little one is full of beans. Hello, little one. It's very sprightly, that one. I say little one, he could probably knock me over without even looking. Without even effort, should I say. There he is again, look. Yes! Oh, he's not seen there.
Actually, if I move forward, you might be able to see him nicely through the bushes there now. You see him shaking his head and putting his ears out. And that's the way elephants try to intimidate. Especially with him being that small, you get youngsters practicing this, and they've obviously seen their parents do it, or family members do it. But Mum didn't even flinch. It's when a big elephant does that, that's when you really have to worry. Oh, it really was quite a large herd. One last look before we say goodbye. Oh, there's a really small one there, look. Oh. Oh, that's got to be under a year old. You see, it still fits underneath Mother's belly. And here comes the rest of the family crossing the road. Oh, what a wonderful way to start the morning, to have a whole herd of Africa's largest mammal having breakfast and being incorporated into their herd is truly wonderful. But I think let's leave them now and see what else we can go and find. Stations leaving the Schlandhaven Gloves, still on Gary Main, Surrey's Road Junction, open lock. Hi, Kim. Good morning to you, Kim. And I'm not entirely sure
Kim, if the golden orb is the same as a banana orb spider in the US. Okay, thanks Mark. Apparently the banana spider is part of the same genus, so it's very, very closely related. And apparently they can also be called golden orbs. And apparently the banana spider in South America is incredibly venomous. And I think it's in a different genus. I think that's what Mark was saying there. So it turns out, Kim, yeah, different spider. So that's why we do have the Latin names of animals and plants and birds and insects, because the local names, they can be similar or the same as other species elsewhere in the world, and that's one of the reasons why our bird names have changed here in South Africa to coincide with the rest of the world. Ooh, we've got a European roller. Are we able to get him? He's a little bit far away. He might be a little bit too far away. But if we can get him, that'll be nice. The European roller has a turquoise breast rather than the pink or lilac breast of the lilac-breasted roller. Slightly bigger as well in size, although can't really tell from here. He's going a little bit chilly actually. The wind's picked up a little bit, so that's why he's hunched up and his feathers are slightly puffed out. And you'll see that especially on cold mornings with birds doing that to try and trap a layer of air between the feathers to try and insulate them. We'll have to see if we can find one a little bit closer, maybe with the sun on it, so you can really see those colours. Absolutely stunning. Stations of Luffish, Lambeth and Blah. So the Gary Main, Zoe's Road Junction, lock is open. Welcome on board this morning, and I would like to go to the dam at some stage, see if the croc is around, but Mark will be manning the waterhole camera, so I'm sure he's also keeping a lookout for the crocodile. But you're wanting to know, will it keep out of sight? until the sun comes out. And does it sleep? Do they need to sleep? Yes, they definitely do need to sleep. And they can sleep during the day or during the night, especially when they're sunbathing and warming up. They might rest. But it could be hiding beneath the surface of the water, conserving energy, maybe at the bottom of the dam. But crocodiles have got quite a interesting way of conserving energy. When they're at rest, there's a valve in the heart, or just not in the heart, but to the entrance to the heart, and from the arteries and the veins, and it pumps the blood just like normal, like mammals and other reptiles. But there is just an extra little piece, and I'm just trying to remember which way around it is now, but it goes from the vein back into the heart, and it actually pumps the oxygenated blood. No, sorry, let me get this right. It does pump deoxygenated blood into the artery so that it doesn't need as much oxygenated blood to be pumped around the body. And I haven't spoken about it for so long, I'm actually forgetting which way around that little, it's called the foramen of Piazza, and it's literally just a little link that allows deoxygenated blood to move around the body with the oxygenated blood. But as soon as the crocodile becomes active, that little valve closes so that only oxygenated blood is pumped around the body. Doesn't look like there's any movement. I did have some rhino tracks as well. I think that was also the same ones that Ephraim was talking about. Looks like they have gone down towards Twin Dams, which we're going to head down towards next. So this crocodile, when he's at rest, he doesn't need to breathe as deeply or as much, and the heart rate actually drops to once every 30 seconds or so. It's a very slow heartbeat when they are at rest. And it's quite an interesting adaptation for conserving energy. But as soon as that little valve closes, then pure oxygenated blood gets pumped around that body, ready for action, and making sure there's enough oxygen getting to those muscles. And there's also another interesting change, and apparently carbon dioxide is also pumped. Ooh. Oh, sorry spider, saw you too late again. The sun blinding me. Fortunately, sometimes the spiders just spin their webs right across the road. And it pumps the carbon dioxide straight into the stomach to make it even more acidic. It was quite interesting research that was done a little while ago, and this vein was pumping blood into the or this extra tube was pumping blood into stomach, and they just couldn't understand why. It's quite an unusual adaptation, and it did take quite a lot of research into finding out what the reason was for this. They found that the carbon dioxide was helping to make the stomach more acidic, which obviously helps with the digestion of the carcasses that they eat, or the animals that they eat. It's very interesting. That's it, I remember now. So this little tube, this little link, just above the heart in the crocodile. I just like to picture the heart itself. The little link is between the artery and the vein. So you still get some blood being pumped into the heart, but it will also branch off and go into the artery, so it happens just above the heart. It's funny though, if you haven't used them for a while, it's funny how you forget the details. So the aortic vein and the aortic artery is the link between those two. Laurie. And Miss Scotia, welcome on board this morning. I'm getting Nova, West Scotia. I'm getting squeaks everywhere this morning. Welcome on board to you, Laurie. Wanting to know, do we see many wild dogs? She hasn't seen any yet. And we do occasionally. But again, wild dogs, just like the elephants, have a huge home range. And they defend their den, like their territory. But otherwise, they have a huge home range. And we traverse about 1,000 hectares here. So the dogs sometimes come and stay here for a couple of days and then move on to other places. I think we've been lucky enough to see them probably about 10 drives, last maybe 8 drives, a few days anyway, when they were here. Just want to have a quick look to see if the crocodile's in twin dams. I'm sure he was here a couple of days ago when the impala were around. Go on a little bit further. Could be the crocodile that's in Gowrie Dam at the moment, you never know. They have moved up the Milwati. They're just behind in the vegetation, keeping a low profile. Come through this way. A rhino-looking tree. So with any luck, Laurie, we'll get some more wild dogs at some stage. It'd be great to see them again. We did hear the pack were fairly close, probably a couple of weeks ago now, when the wild things stopped flowing. Who knows? We have had quite a considerable amount of rain. Branches a little bit lower on the floor. I'm not too sure which baboon you mean, but so far we've got 2 baby baboons and they seem to be doing well. I saw them, when did I last see them? About 4 or 5 days ago. They seem to be doing well. Although we haven't seen some of the individuals of the Gary gang for a little while, so I'm not too sure what's happened to them, whether they've gone south to rejoin the other half of the troop. It's when the baboon troop were in this area. There was quite a large amount of them, and they did split at one stage, leaving a small number of individuals here in the north, and the rest went south. So it could be that some of the individuals that were in this troop headed south. And I think there's 3 youngsters that have gone. They were probably about 2 or 3 years old. Oh, good morning, Mr. Impala. 2 Mr. Impalas. This boy's been fighting. Oh, beautiful. He's such a handsome impala. Listen to the rattling Sister Cola. Just had a quick look at each other again. I do wonder if these 2 males have been sparring though. We are coming up to the breeding season in a couple of months. We are getting to that stage where they're starting to spar and starting to sort out territories again. For those who haven't held onto a territory all year. So the sparring helps them to build up the muscles and practice the skills again. For those of you who would like to see a crocodile, apparently Mark has just found one on the waterhole camera. So if you want to have a look at him, I'm going to be slowly making my way there, I think. We are quite a distance. Okay, apparently he found it and then it's just disappeared. It's on the northern side of the dam. So he's still around at Gary Dam. So then he looked. We may make a few laps during the day. For any of you following us on the map, we're on Leadwood Road at the moment. We're going to head on to Cheetah Cut Line, not seeing any signs of lions. And I don't think Efron's hearing me on the radio, so I think he's gone a bit further afield. I don't think he managed to find anything this side so far. But you never know. The lions were calling close to the boundary. And they may make their way onto the property at some stage. And hopefully they'll stay in the east so that Garuda can stay in the west, and they won't have any clash between the two. So Garuda keeps those cubs nice and safe. And as I say, I think that's one of the reasons why she disappeared for a little while. I think she went further north and then into the west to keep those cubs safe from all the lion activity that was around. Very nice. Fairly fresh white-tailed mongoose tracks, so maybe there was a mongoose out first thing this morning. Over the tyre tracks of the vehicle that drove down here this morning. A lot of spiders ballooning again this morning, getting caught in cobwebs again. Now, there is a bit of a breeze, so it will help spiders to disperse. Just send out a little bit of silk. And for the small spiders especially, they can just stay attached and float away on the breeze. Hearing a squirrel. Oh, he's calling for us. He's certainly looking this way. He could be calling for us. Are you seeing a leopard? That'd be nice. You see him? He's on the tree there. It's probably a little bit too far. He's shaking his tail and he's shouting. And there's another one here. Yeah, there is another one shouting here. Might be worth... I can just poke my nose in here. being such long grass. Just turn in here and see if we can have a look at these squirrels shouting at. I can't see any movement. Okay, squirrels actually come closer now. Are you shouting for us, little one? Or are you still seeing something out up ahead of us? So with them being right up in the tree, they can see much further afield than we can. Run up again now. I think it was because of us. As soon as we turned our back, it came to the branch sitting right on the end of the tree here, and as soon as I started reversing, it ran back to the other tree. So maybe this time it was because of us. It was shouting, and the other squirrel maybe also saw us. So I'm not seeing any movement here. Squirrels are very good at picking up predators. Let's try Drakensberg Drive just in case there is something moving.